down for 3 times. You know, if that were a fight, they'd stop it, right? If that were a fight, they would have stopped it, Mike. In a matter of mere months, Biden has thrown our southern border wide open. When I left office, we handed the new administration the most secure border in U.S. history, and they turned it into the greatest border disaster in American history, probably anywhere in the world. You know, they're emptying their prisons out into our country. And I'm not just talking about Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, Mexico. I'm talking about Middle Eastern countries. Yemen, people are coming in from Yemen. Our country will really be in trouble. We'll really be in trouble. Under my administration, we ended the ridiculous catch and release. You catch somebody, you find out they're a criminal, and you release them immediately into our country. We ended asylum fraud. We deported record numbers of criminal aliens. We negotiated historic agreements with Mexico and Central America to stop illegal immigration. And we built all of that wall that I just talked about. But we had a stay in Mexico policy. You can't come into our country, I'm sorry. Stay in Mexico. Biden ended it. He ended it. But you know what happened? Yesterday, we won in court, and a very wise judge said, we're allowed to have stay in Mexico. Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Judge. Thank you very much. I mean, they used to stay in the United States, and then you'd never find them again. You stay, and, you know, some of these people are seriously tough criminals. I achieved a 90% reduction in illegal border crossings. Think of that, 90%. It was going to go much higher. And brought illegal immigration to a virtual halt. It was the lowest levels ever recorded. And you could come into our country, but you had to come in legally. Finally, we did it, but we had to win a lot of court cases. Many of those court cases started against us by Democrats in Congress. Under the Trump administration, our message was clear. If you try to come here illegally, you will be caught, you will be detained, and you will be immediately sent back home where you belong. And when people heard that, and they hear it, they're genius, it's genius. When people heard that, and then they saw the results, because it was at games, it was happening, they never came. They stopped. Remember at the beginning with the caravans? We ended the caravans, but now the caravans are back at a level that nobody's ever seen. Bigger, stronger, more powerful. It's a disgrace. Now the radical left Democrats have surrendered our sovereignty to the coyotes and drug cartels, child smugglers, human traffickers, and they usually traffic in women. Biden stopped wall construction, instituted nationwide catch and release, wanted it back, and invited the entire world to make a mad dash for the USA. When he said, come, you're welcome, I don't know if he knew. Do people think this is a good thing, what happened? They're destroying our country. They're destroying. Last month alone, Border Patrol, who we love, apprehended a mind-boggling 210,000 illegal border crosses. You can multiply that times 6, 7, 8, or 9 of the people that come in without getting caught. They say you can use numbers like that. Record numbers are getting away, and historic numbers are coming from outside Mexico and Central America, from every corner all over the world. A lot of them coming in from the Middle East. At this rate, millions of illegal aliens will cross our border just this year alone. Millions of people. Many of these people are hardened criminals, murderers. Again, think of this. Just think of the statement. They are emptying their jails into the United States. Think of that. A lot of people don't know what that means. They are the toughest, meanest jails. They're emptying them into the United States. This massive overcrowding on our border is a super spreader disaster that will bring new variants into our nation, and honestly, far worse than variants, far worse. MS-13 is being replenished to levels never seen before. I brought MS-13 through ICE and Border Patrol out by the thousands. We were going into towns in Long Island, and these were brave warriors like law enforcement is. We have so much respect. and they'd go right into what they call a nest of a lot of these gang members, and they'd start fighting. All these guys that I know, my friends in the first row, I know every one of them very well. Not one of them would do this job. And if they did, they'd be knocked out in about 2 seconds. They wouldn't do it well. They wouldn't want to do it. ICE these are brilliant, great, tough, strong, but more important than anything, patriotic people. They would go into these towns and they would get these hardened criminals that are loaded up with weapons, and they would get them the hell out of our country. It's amazing what they did for us. And now they're being treated horribly by this administration. Joe Biden has functionally abandoned ICE, shut down interior enforcement, and turned our nation into a giant sanctuary for dangerous criminals. We have criminals coming in this country. Nobody knows how bad it's going to be. Watch, that's another Trump prediction. In the Republican Party, we believe our country should be a sanctuary for law-abiding Americans, not for criminal aliens. Under my administration, we found the gang members, drug dealers, and various MS-13 killers. And we I mean quickly. We knocked them out so fast. Nobody could believe it. Thousands a year. And we quickly deported them, or we put them behind bars where they belong. Sometimes they were so evil, so vicious, we didn't want to take a chance on bringing them back to their countries. And their countries didn't want them, you know. You know that story. I've told that story. When I came in, we'd catch these people, and Border Patrol, ICE, I'd meet with the top people. They're incredible people. They'd say, sir, they won't take the people. I said, what do you mean they won't take them? They don't want them back. They don't want the gang members back. They don't want the killers back. They won't take them back. When we fly in with an airplane, they put planes on the runway so we can't land. We have to come back. The buses, they stop. They won't take them back, sir. None of the 3 major countries that we're talking about, Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador, they won't take them back, sir. I say, really, do we give them any money every year? This is early on, so, I learned exactly what it was, but early on, hadn't done it too long, right? Do we give them any money? Yes, sir. How much? About $500 million a year. It's a lot of money, right? So I said, good, stop payment immediately. No more money going to these countries. No more money. No more money going to these countries. I immediately stopped all of this $500 million, a little more than that, $500 million going to the 3 countries. And a day went by, and I got a call from all 3 of the heads of those countries who I knew and know and respect. They're smart. They're very streetwise people. They're very smart and very, very streetwise. Mr. President, you stopped many millions of dollars from coming into Honduras and Guatemala and El Salvador. You stopped it from coming in, Mr. President. Is there something we did wrong? Yes, you're not taking back people that came into our country illegally. You will not take them back. Oh, there must be some understanding, sir. We would love to have them back. I said, congratulations. We'll be sending lots of planes your way. And we did. We got them all back. And we still didn't make the payment. I delayed that sucker a long time. We still didn't make the payment. We waited a long time, but they took them all back. And then the other day I heard that Biden wants to give those countries $4 billion. Because he thinks that they're going to spend the money on economic development. No, it's going to go economic development into their bank accounts in Switzerland, okay? That's the economic development we're talking about. They want to give them $4 billion. They're working on the paperwork right now. The money's going to be stolen. It's going to be given to the cartels. It's going to be given to the traffickers. It's going to be kept by politicians. See, we only have honest politicians in our country, right? Like Mo. That's true. We understand, and we've understood very much in America First, that immigration security is national security. And that's why we instituted the travel ban. Remember the travel ban? I took such heat where I was able to get people that came into our country from very tough countries, very, very tough countries, and I was able to stop them from coming to our country because we didn't want to have our stores blown up. We didn't want to have buildings set on fire and death and destruction. So we lost at the lower court, we lost at the second court, and then we won at the United States Supreme Court. And to show you how dishonest the press is, recently they wrote about it. They said he lost in court, and they were right at the lower court. But then I lost again, but then I won. I said, you didn't say I won. Well, you did lose. In other words, technically they're right. I lost in court, but I won. Then we have a travel ban. And without that travel ban, you would have some really bad people in here from places in the world that are evil. And it was a great thing. I took a lot of heat over that travel ban. People said, that's not nice. They all like to call it a Muslim ban. It wasn't a Muslim ban. It was a travel ban from a lot of different countries that are bad. And they send bad people to us. And because of the travel ban, we didn't have to accept that. So it was a great success, but they try and make it look like it wasn't very nice. We dramatically reduced refugee admissions and kept radical Islamic terrorists the hell out of our country. Is that okay? I mean, is that okay?